What's up, everybody? One half of Dom Squared here. It is Dom Landfear, and today I will be starting my first series on the channel, which from the thumbnail and the title of the video you can tell will be a Team Builder Dynasty. Before we get into it, if you're excited for this series or any other we currently got going on the channel, please like and subscribe and help us grow. We've got tons of content coming to you guys in the near future, including more College Football 25 dynasties, Road to Glory, and head-to-head challenges between me and the other Dom. You know, it won't just be us individually having series on the channel. We will be competing in different challenges throughout College Football 25 and some other games as well in the future. Any tips on how we can improve our content for our viewers, please feel free to leave a comment down below. As a new channel, we want to make sure we're providing high quality content that people want to watch. As you can probably tell by the thumbnail and title, this dynasty will be a Team Builder Dynasty where we take over the former FCS team, the University of Montana Grizzlies. This former FCS program has a long history of success at the FCS level, including 2 national championships in 1995 and 2001, and more recently national runner-ups to South Dakota State in 2023. Based on their location, they will be joining none other than the Mountain West Conference, where we will be starting as the lowest overall team as a 72, even lower than the likes of Air Force and New Mexico, among other teams here. You know, not the greatest conference, but we still are the worst. And our biggest rival for the series will be the Boise State Broncos. In the real life matchup of the series, we are 9-16 against the Broncos, with the last matchup coming in 1995. So in this series, we're definitely going to look to flip that in our favor and dominate the Broncos, who are just down the road in Boise, Idaho. We will, of course, be taking over as the head coach of the team. And for an added challenge, we will, of course, be creating our own coach. For our role, we will be starting as a motivator, mainly. We want to take pride in recruiting players that maybe aren't the flashiest or most talented. We're not going to be a team that likely has a top 25 or even top 50 class, but we're going to get guys on the team and develop them over the next 3, 4, 5 years that they're with us into a championship team. For our coach, his name is my real name, Dom Landfear. For offense, we will be rocking the multiple scheme. I believe that is pretty similar to what they run in real life, although it's hard to tell without doing a full film deep dive on them. To start, we'll be rocking the Ohio State playbook. If at any time I find that maybe it isn't rocking with what the team we have assembled currently, I am allowed to change it, but it just has to be another playbook within the multiple scheme. So any team that has a multiple scheme is free game. For defense, we will be mainly a 4-3 multiple team. We want to pride ourselves as a tough and gritty team who can load the box and shut down the run out of 4-3, while also having the ability to match personnel in college football with how pass heavy it is in nickel and dime sets. For alma mater, I am from Wisconsin, so that's what I put. Our pipeline will be the Big Sky region, which is Montana, Wyoming, and I also believe that includes Idaho. We want to pride ourselves on recruiting and developing players close to home mainly, and then we can utilize our coordinators to reach into the hot spot pipelines like California, Ohio, Florida, etc. We will be an aggressive team, both offensive and defensively. Obviously, this history isn't accurate. It is the history of the team we replaced, which was UMass. I figured with them being an independent and also a really lowly rated team, nobody would miss them. Before we get into the actual team, I want to give a shout out to our sliders. They were developed by Reddit user Dangerous Feeling. I will also post a link in the description for both the XP auto sub sliders as well as the gameplay sliders. So though they're here, feel free to pause to take a closer look at them. And then we'll go over the gameplay sliders as well from the same user, Dangerous Feeling, on Reddit, which will be linked down below. As of now, roughing the kicker and running into the kicker is off. A pretty well-known glitch that if you do any of the low field goal blocks, there's a good chance you're going to run into the kicker, give him a free first down. So until that gets addressed in a patch, these will be turned off. Then as well, I also want to give credit for the Teambuilder design, which was designed by Sports PSD is his handle on Twitter. He's got a lot of extremely detailed and awesome designs, and I believe currently he is working on finishing on all the Big Sky and Dakota schools, so go check him out on Twitter if you're interested. And let's get into the team here. Starting with quarterback, starter will likely be Tyler Olson. 70 overall, 82 speed, 86 throw power, 87 short accuracy. Pretty decent in the short game, has the ability to run. We will rely heavily on him in year one, but after him, we're definitely going to look to recruit some quarterbacks year one to replace him. Running backs will be a two-headed monster of Spencer Strickland and Keontae Tyson. We'll definitely see how it plays out early in the season, but we may end up relying heavily on Keontae Tyson in general, just because he's such a dynamic athlete and he has better carrying. At wide receiver, leading the room is Demetrius Williamson, the senior. 87 speed, 90 acceleration, 84 catch in traffic, 89 spec catch. Decent short and medium route running. Not great deep route running. As well as Javion Foreman, 87 speed, 89 excel. 76 catch and 79 catch in traffic. Definitely more suspect hands. And then after him, it really does take a fall off. Nobody over 90 speed, so we're definitely going to look to recruit some guys that can take the top off in this first class. Our tight end room is awful, with our best player being junior Scott McLawler, a blocking tight end who comes in at 62 overall with 75 speed and 75 catching. And then his next best is Maverick Bentley, which is an awesome name, but he is only a 50 overall. And then you can take a look here at our offensive line starters. The theme is that we are an awful team, and it's even saying in here we're 67 overall. So if that is true, we are by far the worst team in the country. An exciting player to look out for on the defensive line will be Joshua Townsend, a junior left end. He's got 80 speed, 89 acceleration, 80 power move, and 72 block shedding, so it looks like he will be hopefully our best pass rusher and be able to generate at least a little bit of pressure throughout the season. As for right end, he may not get much help on the other side, with our best player being Kobe Garland, a sophomore with 74 speed, 69 power moves, 78 finesse moves though, so while his speed will be a factor off the edge, he should be able to rush the passer. Our interior D-line is going to be a struggle. Our best players coming in at 66 overall, a junior and a senior. And then next best being a 60 overall. I think my main focus year one will be a quarterback, and then offensive and defensive line and recruiting, really beefing up those offensive and defensive lines so that we have time on offense to get done what we need to get done, as well as being able to generate pressure on our opponents. Leading our linebacking core and our best player on the team is middle linebacker Chase Freeman from Rhode Island. He comes in at a 79 overall. He is a senior, so only get 1 year out of him. 81 speed, 87 acceleration, 87 player recognition and tackling, 91 hit power, so hopefully we can generate some fumbles with him. Moving on to our defensive backs, starting with cornerback. Our best one is Jaden Bowie, 71 overall senior. Does have 91 speed, 90 excel, 92 agility, with 84 man coverage and 76 zone. Can't really press all that well. It's definitely going to be playing a lot of off coverage. In fact, nobody can press very well outside of possibly Noah Collins Jr. Overall, our corners may get passed on, especially by some of the better schools right away. At our free safety spot for starters, we have Nico Solomon Jr., 71 overall, 86 speed, 89 excel. Hybrid safety, 82 player X, 69 zone, 63 tackling, 76 hit power. Then our starter at strong safety will likely be Quincy Blue, the sophomore, 66 overall. He's got 84 speed, 83 excel, 73 man, 70 zone, and 77 press, 65 tackling, and 76 hit power. Although It is up in the air between him and Alexander Valentine, who's also a 66 overall with 82 speed, 91 acceleration. He does trail Nico in coverage stats, but his tackling and his hit power are a lot better than Nico. So in our base 4-3, Alexander may end up being the starter, while Quincy Blue may end up being our slot corner in nickel sets, just to have that added size at nickel, while also still being able to cover pretty well. So here are our top players so far. Middle linebacker Chase Freeman, Matthew York, punter, Demetrius Williamson, senior wide receiver. We'll look to lean on him heavily in the passing game, as well as junior wide receiver Javion Foreman. For red shirts, I pretty much just went through redshirted anybody who was a true freshman. I did not redshirt anybody who was a sophomore, junior, or senior who maybe wasn't going to be a starter. Just because it's a team builder and it's a custom roster, I don't believe there's a way to redshirt those people on team creation. I haven't done one myself, but I believe that is how it works. So we just kept it at only freshmen being redshirted for now, and then we'll look to keep all these sophomores, juniors, and seniors on the field as much as possible when we can. For our depth chart, I pretty much left it the same as it had auto-generated. The only change is I moved Keontae Tyson to be our starting running back instead of Spencer Strickland, just because of that speed and acceleration, and he's got better carrying. It's going to be a huge part of our offense early on, having somebody that fast. With that out of the way, let's go over to our coaching tree to purchase our first upgrade. We are going to start as a motivator. This first upgrade isn't really super important, as it'll be a tier 1 for any possession that we pick. And we're definitely not close to having anybody drafted in the top 3 rounds anytime close. But I think we are going to put this towards pay it forward for our offensive line. My main focus for year 1 recruiting will likely be offensive line, defensive line, and then we'll fill in weapons around that, but we want to make sure in the trenches we have a solid base to grow for the future. End goal is we will be trying to get to this talent developer tree where we get bonuses to interested transfers, and when our players reach a skill cap. And then also looking at those tier 3 and tier 4 abilities for positions, the Position Whisperer and Star Maker, those are going to be huge in the future for lower rated players as well as starters gaining more XP and faster. So that'll be our overall goal, to get there, and then hopefully we can get into these. And then with the rest of that out of the way, we will finally jump into setting up our initial board for recruiting and taking a look at who is interested in coming to Montana to play for the Grizzlies. With my recruiting strategy, I always like to start with the 5 stars with any team I'm rebuilding or recruiting a dynasty as, just to see if there's any 5-star interested to pursue. With us being a 1.5-star program, no 5 stars are currently interested in coming to Missoula. So we'll move on, and then I'll go down to 4 stars, see who's interested there. Does look like we had a couple 4 stars interested, one being defensive tackle Paul McGee from Berlin, Connecticut. He has us 9th on his board to start, as well as 4-star right tackle out of Windsor, Connecticut, Kerry Gandy. Looks like we got a pretty decent pipeline in Connecticut already. Looks like it's a tier 2. So we will look to exploit that, especially in this instance with 2 4 stars from Connecticut having us on their board right away. We'll definitely be pursuing them pretty heavily. Moving on to 3 stars, we do need to address the quarterback position, so we will add quarterbacks Bret Hart and Antonio Mentor to the board, who are interested in coming to Montana right away. Bret has us as his 2nd option currently, and then Antonio has us as his 7th on his board. We didn't have any 3-star offensive or defensive linemen interested in us, so we will go ahead, take a look at players in our pipelines that are interested on the offensive and defensive line. Looks like we got a couple options here. I will scout the 1 stars just to see if we can get a gem. Likely won't be recruiting them. We do want to keep it to at least 2-star gems at a minimum in this first class, just so we can really make sure we're getting impact players in. To finish up with our initial adds to the board, we're going to go down through the recommended tab, just add any 3 stars we see here that we haven't already got. There's not many that are interested by the looks of it. We don't need a kicker. We'll potentially add another punter, as ours is a junior, I believe. So we'll take a look at them. And then halfback, athlete, free safety, and a couple corners. So we will go over to scout them. Getting into scouting, we're taking a look at the first 4-star who is interested in joining Montana right off the bat. We got right tackle Kerry Gandy, who appears to be a pretty good player, a power archetype right tackle at 6'8", 290. 82 pass block power, 80 run block power, 76 pass block, 88 strength, 77 run block. Definitely a player we're going to recruit very heavily. I'm going to keep him at the top of our board. I'm going to wait to offer him until we can put points on him, as I want to make sure if we potentially get up to first, then we can offer him and hopefully get an insta-commit if we're lucky. Moving on to the second 4-star, Paul McGahee, the defensive tackle out of Connecticut. Comes in at 6'6", 308 pounds, 90 strength, 76 block shed, 65 speed, 86 tackling. Another guy that, being a 4-star, we're obviously going to pursue, and he'll be right there at the top of the board with Kerry Gandy. Those are going to be 2 guys that we try our absolute hardest to recruit. Looking at the first QBs added to our board, Bret Hart comes in with 84 throw power. Unknown speed, looks like it may be in the 70s. 83 short accuracy, 80 deep accuracy, 83 throw on the run, 82 agility. But the better of the 2, in my opinion, right off the bat, is Antonio Mentor, field general archetype quarterback at 6'1", 230. He comes in with 88 throw power, 84 short accuracy, and 77 speed. I do believe, even though they're not fully scouted, that Antonio Mentor will end up being the better player. I don't want to waste all the points scouting them currently, as it does take almost 50 points to fully scout these guys right now, since we don't have any recruiting upgrades at the moment. So I will look to leave those as is and try to make a judgment call on who to fully sign. I believe we're going to go after Antonio Mentor, though, pretty hard, and Bret Hart will be kind of our backup option. Moving on to the first running back on our board is Kevin Havrasik, I believe is how you pronounce it, our power back out of New Jersey. 6 foot, 225 with 88 speed, 88 acceleration, 83 carrying, 81 trucking, and 80 brake tackling. Along with the armbar and balanced abilities, I think this would be a huge help to our run game, having a power back that also has decent speed at 88. And I think we're going to be a team who wants to pound the rock, so he'll definitely be a recruit we heavily recruit. Then the second running back or athlete on our board is elusive back Charles Amatova, 5'10", 178. He is kind of light for a running back. He also has 88 speed, 90 acceleration, 88 agility, 85 change of direction, and 82 carrying. He does appear to be a bust, but from my knowledge of playing this game since release, I do believe that the gem and bust system heavily relates towards dev trait and not his overall, because for a 3-star he looks to be pretty good. So do think we're still going to recruit him as well. Moving on over to tight ends, we have a 3-star athlete who projects as a tight end, Ross Boone out of Virginia. He did get scouted as a bust, but he does appear to have decent stats. I wish we could see his speed, but 72 catching, 76 catching traffic, 82 acceleration, paired with 61 run blocking for a tight end isn't horrible, so we'll definitely look to recruit him as well. Next up is JUCO left tackle Derek Henningsen out of Massachusetts, 6'7", 277, a 2-star JUCO prospect with 66 run block, 61 pass block. Not great. He's got 85 strength, which is pretty good for a 2-star player. 60 speed, 70 agility, which isn't great for the tack position, so he will likely end up being lower on our overall board, but we still will be going after him. Next up were the 1-star guards, Brian Payne and JC Childress. I was hesitant at first to put any 1-stars on our board, and looking at their final tendencies and attributes, I believe I'm going to remove them. For offensive line, having anything below 80 strength is pretty poor, especially when they're just not very good at anything else. Brian Payne has 74 strength. JC Childress has 79 strength, so we're going to take both of them off our board. and we'll look to add more throughout the season, more 3 or 4 stars potentially who don't go recruited by other. Another player getting removed from our immediate board will be Andy Scobell, an agile center from New Jersey. Again, the strength being so low does not fare well on the offensive line, especially with him being a 1-star. We know he's going to have an extremely low overall, so we're going to take him off as well. Moving on to middle linebacker, we start off with Barry Timms, a field general archetype middle linebacker from New Jersey. He's 5'11", 215-ish. 80 speed, 86 tackling, 77 pursuit, 68 block shed, 62 zone. I think he could develop into a pretty good middle linebacker after a year or two sitting behind our current players. But the player I'm really excited about and to potentially sign is Sammy Alens from Flushing, New York. He's a run stopper middle linebacker at 6 foot 230 with 84 speed, 79 tackling, 80 pursuit. He's got 65 block sheds, 62 zone coverage, 87 acceleration. So he will definitely be moved up on our overall board as a gem. It also means he'll likely have a better than normal dev trait, so super excited for potentially getting him once we start recruiting for real. At cornerback, we start off with gem Clarence Sneed from New Jersey. He is a zone corner. He's got 88 speed, 91 acceleration, 82 change of direction, 73 zone, and 69 man coverage to start. So looks to be a pretty good 3-star prospect. Along with that gem, we're hoping he has better than normal dev trait. And then another gem scouted at corner is Zach Ramsey from New Jersey, another zone corner, and he has 90 speed, 88 acceleration, 82 change of direction with 78 zone and 65 man coverage. So between the pair of them, they're pretty good corner recruits for 3 stars, and we'll definitely be moving them to one of our top priorities this first season. If we can lock down a couple decent corners when our current corner room is not very good, that'll be a huge help trying to defend the pass. Looking at our final board going into week 0, top of the board will be 4 stars Kerry Gandy and Paul McGahee. We're definitely going to try to recruit them pretty hard. They will be our main priority. Then we have Antonio Mentor, the 3-star quarterback, Sammy Alens, the gem 3-star middle linebacker, and Zach Ramsey, Clarence Sneed, the 2 gem cornerbacks, Charles Amatova, a bust at running back, but pretty good stats, so we'll still definitely try to bring him in as well. Another bust in Ross Boone, but with the way our tight end room currently looks after this season, we need a body there anyways. Next up, we got halfback Kevin Havrisik out of New Jersey. We'll be looking to add him as well as Charles Amatova, just to add more bodies to the halfback room. And then second middle linebacker on our board, Barry Timms, follows him. And then the second quarterback on our board, Brett Hart. And then the 2-star JUCO tackle prospect, Derek Henningsen. And then these guys I didn't have a chance to fully scout as I ran out of points, so we'll look to finish scouting them next week if we have any leftover points. I'm excited to see what this free safety has. By the looks of it, it looks like he's got pretty good stats that we see so far. Hopefully that speed is pretty high and that zone coverage is pretty high, and he may be one that we end up moving up, which I think I will right away, and then we'll worry about punter later on as well. And already, 1 week out of the preseason, Cavante Tyson, our starting running back, is looking to transfer due to playing time. Hopefully that changes, though, as he will be our starting running back. I guess he didn't get the memo, though. And that will do it for episode 1 of our Dynasty. I know it was just more of a setup and intro to the team. Super excited to get into this Dynasty and see where we can take the Montana Grizzlies at the FBS level. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We got tons of cool content coming your way. And then excited to jump into this first season. And then the next episode, we'll be taking on Eastern Michigan in our first ever game at the FBS level. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.